Hello everyone and welcome to a new series on Otestube. I'm going to be talking about the NFL game picks, playoff picture, stuff like that. Now, first of all, I just saw the game between the Chiefs and Raiders, and I'd just like to congratulate the Oakland Raiders for picking up their first win of the season, snapping a 16-game losing streak going back to last season. I honestly did not think they would win today, but they pretty much have a brutal schedule coming up, and if they didn't win today or next week against the Rams, I didn't think they would win at all this year, but congratulations to them. Anyway, now, another thing I want to talk about is the NFC South. Now, let's just say I'm pretty much a die-hard Falcons fan, but in this show, I'm going to be biased. Even though the next statement might not prove it, but it is going to be biased. Who do I think is going to win that division? Well, let's just go back to a couple weeks ago when the Falcons had their bye. They were 2-6 and in third place in the division. Seemed like they were dead in the water. And then you had the New Orleans Saints with a record of 4-4, and they had their next three games were all at home, where they won 11 straight with Sean Payton on the sidelines. Basically, with a 4-4 record and 3 straight home games, this was set up for them. Like, this was set up for them to get to 7-4 and in the big time driver's seat in the division to win it. Lost to San Francisco. I was like, okay, San Francisco's a quality opponent. I'm not saying all three of those teams that they're playing at home are quality opponents, but in the tight NFC race, San Francisco seemed to be back on the horse, especially with getting Aldon Smith back. Ballman may not be playing this season. Patrick Willis on IR, not going to be playing this season, but they're still big on defense, so I'll give San Francisco that. They control most of that game. And then against the Cincinnati Bengals, who, well, this is a week-to-week league. I mean, the Chiefs, they went from beating the defending Super Bowl champions at home 24-20, and then they ended up today losing by that same score to the winless 0-10 Raiders. So you can't really go by, the Bengals, they got beat down by the Browns, the Saints are going to come and kill them. But no, Cincinnati won that game, they dominated that game, and let's just say that fan, that Saints fan that snatched the ball from that Bengals fan, he actually had more interceptions than than the whole Saints defense. But I digress. I'm sorry. I just have to put that in. Anyway, I personally think that right now the Falcons are in the driver's seat. Yeah, they're 4-0 in the division. All 4 of their wins came against the division opponents. But yeah, the Browns coming into the Dome, I think that the Falcons will win that game against Cleveland. I do not really think that the Browns are that good. They're good, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're as good as people think they are. I think that it's going to show. I think the Atlanta's defense has been playing better than they were earlier this season. They've been taking the ball away. William Moore not being there, Robert Alford, who's been pretty much an interception machine lately, he's not going to be there. It's going to hurt that secondary. But I think they'll have their problems going up against a returning Josh Gordon. But it's going to be at home. If it was in Cleveland, that'll be another story. But I think the Falcons take that game against the Browns. I'm jumping the gun because I will make some game picks a little bit later on in this broadcast, but I think that this division, the NFC South, is the Falcons' division to lose. They're 4-0 in the division. As a matter of fact, all the teams in the NFC, all the division leaders in the NFC. I'm not counting the Packers because the Lions have the tiebreaker, and I'm not counting the Cowboys because the Eagles have the tiebreaker, even though they didn't play each other yet. But the Eagles have a 2-0 division record. But Cardinals, Lions, Eagles, Falcons, they have a combined 10-0 in their division play. So they have here's their schedule: Cleveland, Arizona. That's going to be a tough one. But they're at home, so I'll give them a slight chance there against the Cardinals. I'm not sure. I'm not too sure about that Cardinals game. Then they got to go to Green Bay. I don't see them winning in Green Bay the way Aaron Rodgers and them are playing at home. Then they're coming back home to play the Steelers. They're a good team, but I question their losses. They lost to Tampa Bay at home. I mean, really, Tampa Bay? And then they lost to the Jets. I mean, so they have their struggles against losing teams. Technically, the Falcons are a losing team. So then after Steelers game, they go to New Orleans, and then they head back home to face the Carolina Panthers to close out the season. I think it's a tough one. I think they may go 7-9 and win that division. A lot of people are saying, oh, the Saints at home. I'm not too sure about them at home anymore, based on what happened in recent weeks. And the Falcons-Saints series, no matter how good or how bad one or both teams are, they always play each other close. It's rare that one team blows out the other team. That Falcons-Saints rivalry, even though the Saints have been dominating in that rivalry lately, but they've been close, like 3 points, 4 points, 7-point wins. So don't just assume that the Saints, that they're gonna go down into the Superdome and get blown out. They may lose that game, but they may, But the NFC South, I don't know. It's anyone's. Even Tampa Bay, they're 2-8. They can win out, get to 8-8, which I seriously doubt. The team can go 5-11 and win that division. I mean, that division is not that good, and it's a surprise because a lot of people in the beginning of the season thought that there would be 3 teams that would be really good: the Saints, Panthers, and the Buccaneers, and even the Falcons. They thought that they would improve, but technically they have improved. They matched their winning total from last season and in first place in the division, but I mean, last year they only won 1 game in the division, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, here's the NFC playoff picture as we speak. Arizona 9-1, Detroit 7-3, the Eagles are 7-3, and the Falcons round up the division leaders at 4-6. Then you have the Packers and Cowboys leading the wild card, both 7-3. Then you have San Francisco and Seattle are 6-4, and then you got the Saints at 4-6. I mean, they're the only way they're going to make the playoffs is if they win the division. They're not going in as a wild card. Bears, Vikings, Rams, they're all 4-6. So don't sleep on St. Louis. They can really play big time spoilers in the division and in the NFC and possibly in the AFC. Look what they did to Denver. And here's the AFC playoff picture. You have the Patriots at 8-2, Broncos 7-3, Bengals 6-3-1. Now that tie that they had with Carolina may help them in winning the division. I'm not sure, but right now all 4 teams, well, the Steelers have 7 wins, but they're 7-4, so that's where that tie comes in, because the Bengals have 3 losses, and the Colts round up the division at 6-4. Chiefs lost today, they're 7-4. Steelers is 7-4. They have a bye this week. Then you have 4 teams who are 6-4: Browns, Ravens, Chargers, Dolphins, and then the Texans and Bills round up at 5-5. Although 5-5 in the AFC might be a killer for them unless you win out and have help, but I don't think the Texans and Bills have a shot to make the playoffs. Texans, however, may. They are only a game behind Indy. But yeah. Anyway, so here's my game picks right now. I'll start with, like, I already gave you my Falcons pick. I picked Atlanta to win that game over Cleveland. It's a home game. They haven't been home in like a bajillion years, but they'll come back to the Dome, and I think they'll have a home cooked win there. The game of the week, in my opinion, will probably be Detroit at New England. It's going to set up for next week. That's going to be a really good game, Packers and Patriots, but I'm not going to jump into that. New England, they're at home. They're playing the #1 ranked defense in the league. They held Arizona to 14 points, 14 first half points, by the way. Cardinals didn't score in the second half. Neither did Detroit. But the Lions need to play it better on offense. I'm picking New England because they're at home. I want to go upset and pick Detroit, but I don't really. It's in New England, so I can't really do that. So I'm picking the Patriots over the Lions, but I'm putting in a little question mark to that because I don't know about that one. Green Bay beats Minnesota. Colts over Jaguars. I'm gonna go Texans over Cincinnati at home. And Lovie Smith returned to Chicago. I think he'll win that game. Jets and Bills have been moved to Detroit on Monday night. I think it's the right move. Buffalo hasn't been they haven't had practice in a couple days. Detroit indoor stadium. Doesn't matter where they would be, but they're not playing in Buffalo, that's for sure. And the Bills have another home game next week against the Browns. I don't know where that's going to be. Lions play on Thanksgiving. That possible game in Detroit could be next Sunday as well. I'm going to go Seattle over Arizona. I don't think the Cardinals are going to Seattle second year in a row and knocking the Seahawks off. I think Russell Wilson and those guys come back. They have a bounce back game. They go to 7-4. 49ers over the Redskins because I don't think the Redskins are a good team. They're not a good team. The Broncos bounce back. They'll beat the Dolphins. And then I'm going to go upset here. I'm picking the Rams to beat the Chargers. Book it because the Rams, even though they're 4-6 and they're in last place in that really tight NFC West, but the defense is no joke. They held Peyton Manning to 7 points. I think they'll go to San Diego. I think they'll beat the Chargers. I'm going upset. I'm picking the Rams over the Chargers. Sunday Night Football, I will go Cowboys over the Giants. Yeah. In New York, Giants at 3-7. I don't know. I'm picking the Cowboys. And then Monday Night Football, there's 2 football games on Monday night. Bills over the Jets, home game in Detroit. And I'm going, will it be really difficult to imagine the Saints losing 3 straight games, 3 straight home games, back to back to back? But I see it. I think the Ravens go into the Superdome. Last time they were there, they won the Super Bowl, so but it wasn't against the Saints, obviously. But still, I think Baltimore wins that game. Ravens over the Saints. Saints have a little tougher schedule because they have, after this game Monday night, then they got to go to Pittsburgh. While the Falcons, they stay home to face the 9-1 Cardinals. It's going to be a tough game, but it's a home game, so I'll give it to the Atlanta Falcons. I'm not going to say who's going to win, who's going to lose yet. Maybe the people who watch this video might say, oh, Cardinals are going to win, blah, blah, blah. But just because you have a better record, look at tonight, the Raiders 0-10, they beat the Chiefs at home. So, just because you have a better record than superior record-wise, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to guarantee a victory. So, whatever. I might pick Arizona to beat I might pick Arizona to win that game. I'm not picking them to win this game against Seattle. I think Seattle will win that game. Anyway, that's it, and we'll see you in the next video.